What's up, guys? We're here at AMC Town Square with Chasing Cinema.
Mr. James Hsu.com,
and we're here for Peter Jackson's Mortal Engines.
Yes, a movie that seems to be a continuation of the never-ending young adult post-apocalyptic phenomenon. But the one thing that this movie has going for it that Insurgent, Divergent, and all those movies didn't, The Giver and all that, has Peter Jackson's name on it. If we've learned anything, it's that Peter Jackson is, of course, a tour de force when it comes to visual effects. You know, the guy that brought us Lord of the Rings, he brought us the Hobbit movies, he did the most recent King Kong. And this is like his passion project, his big movie that he's been trying to get made. Unfortunately, does not direct the movie. He kind of steps back and let his, I guess, his protege do the direction of this movie, but obviously this has been his passion, and as producer, he has final say. Going into this, I will say from what I've seen trailer-wise, the movie did not appeal to me.
Appealed to me,
it appealed to you big time. But if I do know anything, Hugo Weaving is one of the baddest men in Hollywood. I'm a big fan, so I'm excited to see him in something new. Well, Mortal Engines, Shu. What did you think?
Well, I gotta say this. I didn't read any of the books, as y'all know. So I just came to this fresh, watched the trailers. This movie looked beautiful.
I didn't read anything either.
So I'm pumped about it. And when I got out of the movie, the only thing I had to say was, he didn't want to do Red Skull and he'd rather do this? That's what I said to myself. I said, Hugo Weaving doesn't want to do the Red Skull. And he wanted to do this movie. So yeah, where do I start? Let's go here. So, even the movie starts off, doesn't it? It's not even a great start. But I will say that, let me start with the good stuff first. The movie I thought was beautiful. I thought the world building, the way they visually and all that stuff, I thought that looked great. Mm-hmm. And then I thought the concept was so interesting, and like the cities on wheels, you know? I was like, okay, that's weird. You know, that's something that has never been done before. You know, like, because you can see like Avatar and you can say, oh, it's Pocahontas in space.
Yeah.
You know, you can say that about so many movies. What is Mortal Engines? Who the hell knows? You know, it's like City on Wheels. Never heard that.
Star Wars.
Why didn't? How's that Star Wars wheel?
Well, they're on a spaceship in space rather than a rolling engine on the floor.
Oh, okay.
John Carter.
There's definitely ways you could do it.
Okay. Well, I didn't see it like that. I was like, okay, that's unique. You know, City on Wheels.
Yeah.
And, damn, this movie was it wasn't good. And then there's this ending that I think was supposed to be like mind blowing. I think it was. Did nothing for me. And then Hugo Weaving's character, to be honest with you, saw nothing that. And then there's this other Green Skull character. It's not a Green Skull, but when you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's a Green Skull in the movie that was a
Green Skull.
Right?
Funny.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know.
Like
I know what you're talking about.
And
I like how you named him. Though,
he was a bad guy. Kinda, I guess. He was a bad guy. He killed people. And then the way he exits the movie, I was just like, that's it? Like everything about this movie for me was so disappointing because I love YA movies, you know. I don't mind the Twilight films like everybody else. That's probably like the cool thing to say is I don't like Twilight, but I know people like it. And then the Legion films, and then the Maze Runner films. I like all those. So I'm like, okay, this has me all over it, bro.
Yeah.
And it was just not good, dog. I didn't like it.
You're not far off. I really agree. If anything, you know, with Peter Jackson, with like the Hobbit movies and everything, you know, he's not a filmmaker that I tend to really be attracted to. Granted, of course, he did one of the most powerful trilogies of our time in motion pictures. Lord of the Rings were, you know, an incredible thing. But for me, like, I never really had a strong personal connection with Lord of the Rings. I think they are beautiful. I do think they are, of course, some strong works of art. But Peter Jackson has never communicated to me directly as an audience and a filmmaker. And this movie just did not seem like it was gonna connect with me. And I happen to have been right in this case. I think this movie is on par with Insurgents and Maze Runner and these movies that
I enjoy those.
They're all the same. I just wish, like, and I get it, and of course someone could be like, well, you like this movie, and that's just like you said, you know, they could say I like this movie A, and movie A is like movie B, but this movie just feels so lifeless. There's not a charismatic thing on screen. Hugo Weaving, well, my only answer for your Red Skull comment could have only been, He must have made more than he would have doing Red Skull. And granted, I will say, this movie doesn't call for him to do very much. You know, like, I mean, maybe he's like, dude, so I really got to sit through how many hours of makeup?
That's part of the killer. He's like, makeup or no makeup? No makeup.
Yeah. Honestly, like, and there's things about this movie that feel, and I'm trying to word this so it doesn't seem generalizingly insulting, but things that I would expect from a very young person book. There are lines in this movie that feel like they are written for a 12-year-old.
Yeah, but the screenplay, they don't pull from the book.
Not necessarily. No, but that's what I'm saying. But it feels like it's out of that type of that YA realm.
Damn.
And in even lower sense, like, we're talking James Bond killing a villain, quick whipping, you know, that are like, oh, that's rough, man. Like, do you
remember a line or
there are 4 lines, yeah. There is a line in the movie, which I guess I'm trying not to spoil anything, and hopefully it doesn't send off any of the book fans, but I guess if you're a book fan, you know what happens. Where one character is like, you're a dinosaur. And the other character's response is, he says, so you're a dinosaur. He goes, well, what does that make you? The other character responds, the meteor. And you're just like, oh, what? And then there's another quick whip about someone being history. Like, it is all the cheesiness that you're just like, yikes. No, but I mean, again, and the thing about these YA movies that I find so fascinating is, besides Jennifer Lawrence and Hunger Games.
Oh yeah, Hunger Games too.
I mean, even Twilight got this criticism. They don't find actors that are charismatic in the least. They don't find characters that gleam charisma or like seem to be likable. Granted, we're supposed to be in this future. It's supposed to be a little dreary. But like, can you find someone who could crack a smile and that makes you want to root for them?
You're talking about the girl?
The girl and the guy had the 2 most forgettable faces in the entire world. And I don't mean you should just judge off looks, but I just mean in terms of like, they're forgettable. There's nothing to remember them by. They don't leave any imprint. The guy in this movie actually reminds me of the kid from Maze Runner. Dylan O'Brien. Dylan O'Brien. They look almost the same. And you know, like none of these, and you know another thing, and of course this is getting to a much bigger topic, and I can't just criticize more Indians for, but like, I would love to see a YA movie that doesn't follow just, you know, I mean, like, I would love some diversity in these YA movies. They always tend to be the same. It's always this boy, this girl, and it always tends to be about them trying to figure out this problem. I would love to see some difference in these YA movies. They all feel the same. And I think the movie, I don't think the movie looked very good. I don't think the special effects were anything to yah-yah about. I don't think the world building was very pretty. I mean, it didn't look bad, but from a Peter Jackson movie, it shouldn't look bad. But you put that movie on a screen against Lord of the Rings or another one of his movies, the other movie looks far better than this. And again, I know we keep talking about Peter Jackson, though he wasn't the director of this movie, and we have to keep kind of saying that, but him being producer and him putting his name all over this thing has kind of made us talk about him. You know, and then this movie just turns into Star Wars in the closing act. I mean, the things they rip off from Star Wars feels like almost laughable, to which kids, in my screening, young kids were saying like, this is just Star Wars. Like, if your audience is kind of connecting, and I mean, and it's not like, oh, a little line or a character kind of remind, no, I mean, like, there are things in this movie that make you go, oh wow, he was, like, I just see the writers like, kind of like...
The writer of the book, though.
No, yeah, or, well, I don't know how it necessarily goes down in the book, but the movie makes it even more feel like Star Wars, so whoever it may be, the writer of the book or who adapted it for the screenplay, was just like, all right, now how do I end this? And Empire is in the background, and they're like, you know, and that's how they kind of close things off.
He's like, brilliant.
Yes, brilliant. I got it. No one will ever put this together. You know, because like we have this, and then of course we have like this, like, I don't know how you would, they have this flying apparatus, this plane-like thing, and you know, it's tilting as things are blowing up in this contraption, and it looks like, you're like, oh, I've seen this before. They're flying through the Death Star, right? But there's just not a lot.
Maybe I didn't feel this way because I didn't see 4, 5, 6.
We're gonna get dislikes now.
Maybe that's why.
But no, I mean, it was like Force Awakens too. Like just that scene, like how we follow a flying apparatus through an explosion, like going sideways and stuff. Like that's right out of the Star Wars book, and that's in here. Honestly, I don't. And okay, so The green character that you made a big stint about.
Green Skull.
He's just useless. I don't like. I mean, I guess he is there to kind of help move this plot along, but at the end of the day, his character doesn't really add much. But everything just feels shoot in. There's nothing likable about the movie. I didn't. It was really, really disappointing, and I thought way more bad than anything that I could say good.
In my head, I'm thinking, oh wait, so is this green person? Oh, he was human. Oh, okay, no, but now he's a green skull. Now he's a robot.
Well,
oh, wait, now.
I will say when I first saw it, I thought he was a monster, like a monster creature or a corpse. I think they refer to him as a corpse. I don't really remember. I pretty much have forgotten this movie. Yeah, and like when we first see this character, he's like in a box, and then you see his tongue. So that's why I assumed, it's a person. Yeah. But then I guess he's a robot. I guess he was a human that was turned into a robot.
Yeah, so what is that?
I don't know.
So he was this robot, right? Yeah, exactly. He's this robot.
He's just robot Green Skull.
I'd buy that for $1. And then he becomes Green Skull, and then the 80% into the movie where we see him exit the film, it's like...
Yeah, and then you think about it like, what purpose did he serve in the movie besides to get a particular item to a character?
Yes, which you could have done
any other way. Yeah. Just rough, really rough. And I mean, granted, I don't ever want and I know we've talked about this many, many times. I don't ever want a movie to fail, and I don't ever want to be right about thinking a movie's not going to be good. But man, did I call this one.
And it sucks too for this movie because this movie spent so much money.
Do you know what the budget is off the top of your head? No.
At least $100 million after marketing.
I think there are three form books in this trilogy. Mm-hmm. I don't think we'll see it.
I don't think so either.
I don't think this movie, I mean, really, by the way people are not talking or lack of talking, I don't think this movie's going to do well at all.
Yeah, I feel bad.
Yeah, it's coming at a bad time. It's got a lot of competition, a lot more like mainstream. If people are having to choose out of Aquaman, Bumblebee, Mary Poppins, Spider-Man, I think Mortal Engines is very... I mean, I'm sure there are fans of the book, but I mean, granted, I hear that about every YA movie that comes out, and like I feel like I mean, it's pretty conceited, but like if I haven't heard of a title of a YA, like a popular novel, then it obviously hasn't gotten into the mainstream media where we would have heard of it, you know? Like, did you know about Mortal Engines, the book, before?
No, but what I would say is you're not an avid YA reader, though.
No, but that's what I'm saying, though. But like Twilight was in the public consciousness. Like that is a huge book. The Hunger Games were in the public conscious before they were made.
I'm not gonna lie, I never heard of Hunger Games.
Oh, see, I had read the first book before the third book, I think, was finished. I think because she had already like published the second book, and I had picked up the first one, and the second book I didn't like, and I stopped reading. But yeah, I just feel like I mean, I understand that these are successful YA trilogies, and I'm not doubting that, but not successful to the point where we would consider Twilight or Hunger Games or something where you'll see this mocked on SNL, or we'll have like a footprint in the culture type deal, is what I mean. But yeah, I think this movie will be forgotten, and we will move on and going into the next year. But before that,
you know, it's ironic too. A little parallel is. Alita Battle Angel was moved because of too much competition, so they're like, we'll probably do better in Valentine's weekend. Yeah. And so it was moved over. So this movie also is about to just get murdered by all these other great reviews. By Bumblebee has a 98%, Spider-Man Spider-Verse has a 90%.
And even if Bumblebee didn't have great reviews, the fans of the Transformers are going to
outshine Mortal Engines.
There's too many big properties out there right now.
But here's the parallel. So Peter Jackson's name's all over this.
Yes.
James Cameron's
name's all over.
His passion project has always been Alita Battle Angel. I never heard of the anime before. I just heard James Cameron always talking about it for like a decade now. He's always been talking about it. And then so that one has all his name on it, but yeah, it's interesting. Anywho, we also have reviews for...
Well, I hope Alita's much better than this.
I'm pumped for Alita. Natalie Portman's Vox Lux.
Yes.
You can watch the review for that. You can also see our review for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse, yes. So make sure to go check out any of our reviews, and then join us here at AMC Town Square
next week.
10 o'clock next week for what I believe is our final premiere of the year.
That's
which usually it is. It's before Christmas. You know, it's going to be a big boom. We have many movies. We have Aquaman.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins Returns. Bumblebee. And I'm sure there'll be other smaller releases, but for sure those three big ones, and that's, you know, plenty to choose from right there.
Love it. ChaseandSubmit.com is on this.
The Film Lovers website.